Zoning Commission's regular meeting of Thursday, June 10th, 2021. Can we all stand for a pledge of allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And in the event of a fire, there are exits at the rear of the chambers. Just go out the doors, down the steps, out towards the sidewalk by Route 5, or to my left, your right, out these doors, down the flight of stairs, out the back of the building to a safe distance away. And can we have roll call, please?
Ken Nelson.
Here.
Linda DeGray. Absent. Virginia Higley here. Frank Alimo.
Here.
John Petronella.
Here.
Mary Scott. Absent. Richard Suzak. Absent. Vinnie Grillo.
Here.
Nelson Carrera. Here. Okay.
How many present?
I'm counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6 members present. At this time, I would like to sit Commissioner Vinnie Grillo and Nelson Correa to take the place of the absent commissioners for the remainder of the meeting. Moving on, can I get an approval of the minutes for May 27th, 2021?
I move to approve the minutes of May 27th.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor? Any corrections, alterations, concerns? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Public participation. At this time, is there anybody out there who would like to speak to the commission about anything that is not currently on our agenda? If so, please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and talk to us. Anyone? Okay, seeing none. Next is the town attorney's report. We received it in writing. Is there any questions for the town attorney at this time? Okay, seeing none. Bond releases, SPR 1776, 138 South Road, request for the release of the landscaping bond in the amount of $2,340. Lori? Everything I see, it's clear,
Yeah.
good to go, and I drive by it every day, and
Yep.
they did a amazing job. And I know they were concerned with COVID and stuff like that it was going to take them time, but brand-new parking lot, outstanding. I commend the owners of that property, and I hope the reptile place is doing well, and we should all stop in and check it out. Remember the big snakes?
They're on Facebook a lot.
Yeah.
I think they're getting a good
Percy the
clientele.
Python. Yeah, I got to get my grandson in there. Okay, all in favor of the bond release for SPR 1776, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? It's unanimous. Continued public hearings. I see none. Moving on to new public hearings. Public hearing 3009, 11 Pearl Street.
I'm sorry.
11 Pearl Street. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
He is not here.
Do you want to open the public hearing?
Could we delay it till later?
Absolutely,
I
before I-
don't see any reason why he wouldn't be here.
Right. I just don't want to enter roll call and stuff and open the
Yeah.
public hearing.
If we could move on to 54 Hazard Avenue, public hearing 3010, that
Okay.
would be great.
At this time, can I get a motion to table public hearing 3009 to the end of the agenda, please?
So moved.
Motion's
Second.
made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Seeing none. Moving on, public hearing 3010, 54 Hazard Avenue. Is there anyone here for the applicant? If so, please come forward. Okay, can you read the legal notice into the record and roll call, please?
PH 3010, 54 Hazard Avenue.
Go ahead.
Special permit and site plan review application to allow a fencing club, that's not the right one, is it? Yeah, fencing club, commercial recreation use in a business regional shopping center, Stop and Shop Plaza, Enfield Station LLC owner, Enfield Fencing Club LLC applicant, map 56, lot 26, BR zone.
Thank you.
Roll call. Ken Nelson,
Here.
Virginia Higley here, Frank Alamo,
Here.
John Petronella,
Here.
Vinnie Grillo,
Here.
Nelson Correa.
Okay. Name and address for the record, please.
Dr. Ian Tucker, home address is 89 Partridge Road, Somers, Connecticut.
Okay.
Press the red button on there. So it should light up.
Dr. Ian Tucker, home address 89 Partridge Run, Somers, Connecticut.
Welcome, Ian.
Joyce Bolaños, 43 Moody Road, Enfield.
Welcome. So tell us a little bit about what you'd like to do.
Shall I? Yes. So, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
So, Joyce, myself, and our third member, Coach Gerardo Maury, between the three of us, over 100 years of fencing experience, nationally and internationally, collegially and locally. We were part of a club that was in Broadbrook that has closed because of COVID. We are Gerardo Maury. We are in the process of opening a new one in to service the population of Enfield, Connecticut. You can join us, Gerardo. You're part of this.
Pull a chair around and join them.
Please. So we have secured a lease in the Stop and Shop Plaza as outlined, and we are prepared to hopefully offer classes to the population, children and adults, both as a athletic experience, a health benefit, as well as competition for the population that will be within probably 20 miles. We will be the premier fencing club. We have coaches, you see us here. We also have assistant coaches who have been coaches for the Peruvian team, right? So we have a lot of experience, and we're eager to share it with the team, with the club.
Great. It sounds like a good adventure for the kids and even adults.
Yeah.
Now, Vinny, is this a conflict because you own a fencing company too?
Maybe
I got
he-
scared at first, but I'm good.
You can help sponsor us if you'd like,
to
it'd be
do
great.
his hours
That's
and
not a
days of
problem.
operation for the public.
What are your hours and days of operation?
So we plan on
We
plan on being open Mondays through Thursdays for the most part to run regular classes for both adults and kids. Saturdays we'll have a kids class. We're gonna leave Fridays for maybe private classes or events, anything of the sort, camps, that kind of thing. Every so often, we'll try to organize tournaments because competition is a big part of the development of the athletes, you know, and also to get access to higher level regional, national competitions. So mostly after work hours, so from 6 until at least 8 o'clock, maybe later, depending on engagement and. Yeah, so it takes until 9 or 10 o'clock, depending.
Yeah, there's no restriction on your hours. It's just this is like
just
it's a
letting
free
everybody
commercial
know.
for you. So, you know, this is your 5 minutes of fame.
So just letting everybody know. During the day, we'll still work around everybody's schedule. Private lessons are also a big part of the development of athletes. So as they progress in their training, it's highly recommended that they do 2-3 times a week, one-on-one, instead on top of just regular group classes. So a lot of the time that we will not be, say, open formally, we'll still be open running these kind of things, more tailored to the schedule of the athletes.
Now, your tournaments, you're going to hold them at the same location,
Yeah, correct.
and you will never exceed your occupancy limit.
No, so on that we're going to, without getting too technical in the sport, but we're only going to have 2 strips, you know, as really the field of play. So only having 2 kind of limits the max number of competitors that we could have. So and one competition, one event may take 3-4 hours. So we may have On tournament day, we may have, say, 2 events, and they won't overlap. So no, we don't think that the occupancy will be a problem. So with 2 strips, really, we're limited to, say, really 16 competitors. Could probably squeeze 20, but now you're having like a second round of, you have to wait because 8 is the biggest group you could have on one strip.
Great. Questions? Anyone?
I think it's awesome.
I think it's great.
I think Enfield's going back to the medieval times. We have axe throwing, and now we have sword fighting.
Perfect.
I wonder if the two are ever going to get mad at each other. We're in a war.
Ages 7 to 100.
Beautiful,
So-
beautiful, great exercise.
And there is competition for 80 plus. There is,
Wow.
there is national competitions for 80 and over age groups.
Mr. Chairman, so
Commissioner Lima.
for your, Chairman mentioned your occupancy and how you're going to be doing the tournaments. So obviously, and I can see in the report, you still have to get a building permit, and the fire department and all the other inspections will take place. So that's going to determine your layout and how you're going to exit and how many people you're going to be able to have
Yeah, so
at that point. So I think, for the record, you probably should wait for that portion.
So we've met actually with the fire marshal and with the building department. They actually came to the space and was very helpful to have let's say a preliminary walkthrough inspection and to let us know exactly what it is that we need, so we're aware and we're taking care of those things that
Good.
came up. In fact, I just saw Raymond from the building department just yesterday, exchanging some paperwork and some things. As far as what we have to do for, we don't need any construction per se. We just need to. It's a bare concrete floor at the moment, so we just need to lay down some flooring that's good on the joints, of the athletes. And we've been coordinating with the building department, but they told us that, pending some paperwork that we're exchanging, we don't need a permit for that. So, and that's really the extent of the
Good.
things we need. Some electrical work to repair some things that we're taking care of next week, in fact.
Sounds like you're in good hands with the other officials.
No, they've been very helpful.
I'd
so
probably have to
far.
look back, and I'm sorry, I did. What's the square footage again?
It's 1912.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Okay, at this time, I'm going to open it to the public. You can wait here unless somebody wants to come forward. Then I would ask you to step aside until they speak. At this time, I'd like to open up public hearing 3010 54 Hazard Avenue, the special permit and site plan review application to allow a fencing club, commercial recreation use in a business regional shopping center, Stop and Shop Plaza. Is there anybody out there who would like to speak in favor or against this public hearing? If so, please come forward and state your name and address for the record. Going for the first time. Seeing none. Going for the second time. And the third time. Okay, seeing none. How would you like to proceed with the public hearing?
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to close the public hearing. All in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, public hearing is closed.
I think it's a great addition to the town. I'm looking forward to it opening and taking a peek at it.
How about a lesson?
Thank
Oh,
you.
yes,
Yeah,
listen.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve PH 3010, 54 Hazard Avenue, special permit and site plan review application to allow a fencing club, commercial recreational use in a business regional shopping center, Stop and Shop Plaza, Enfield Station LLC owner, Enfield Fencing Club LLC applicant, map 56, lot 26, BR zone, according to the materials submitted under PH 3010 and with the 18 conditions. Thank you.
Motion's made. Is there a second?
I second.
Motion's made and seconded by Commissioner Grillo. I also am in favor of it. I assume couples can go, so it's a good way to release stress against your spouse, and it's not illegal.
It's
so
nice. It's more than encouraged.
I hope she's not watching right now, but
Kids, absolutely. It's a great way to resolve family disputes.
great. Roll call, please.
Ken Nelson.
4.
Virginia Higley, 4. Frank Alamo.
4.
John Petronella.
4.
Vinnie Grillo.
4.
Nelson Correa.
All in favor, none against. Congratulations and welcome to Enfield. I
you
wish you
very
the
much.
best of luck.
Thank
Good
you
luck.
very much.
Thank you.
Do you have the staff comments for the 54 Hazard Avenue?
We just did 54 Hazard
Not
Avenue.
54 Hazard Avenue. If you have it tonight.
Okay, moving on. Old business, SPR 1858, 612 Hazard Avenue, site plan review. Welcome back, gentlemen.
Great to be here. We wish we had known about the fencing club 2 weeks ago. So we have a space that they could use.
Oh,
So everybody should have the revised plans. I just want to make sure everybody has them. I know
are
that
they
you
the
got
ones
them
dated
digitally.
June 9th?
June 9th?
June 9th for the architectural.
Okay, yep.
Did you find them? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, my name is Peter Alter. I'm a lawyer. I practice law in Glastonbury at the firm of Alter and Pearson. Also present tonight is Dana Steele, J.R. Russo, our project engineer. We received a little news about 10 or 15 minutes ago. Our architect had to take his wife to the hospital, so Dana and I are going to play the role of architect as needed tonight. There were, and I did have a chance to review the minutes of the meeting of a couple of weeks ago. There were really 3 issues, I think, that the commission asked us to address from our first presentation, and we think we have addressed each and every one of those, hopefully to your satisfaction. First of all, Mr. Chairman, you indicated that it was your position that the Plan of Conservation and Development recommended at least that a project like this have a mixed-use component. You suggested that we consider making use of the area that we had previously designated as exercise facility for the residents and convert it into commercial space that would be available to not only residents but to the public on a commercial basis. We have done that on the plan. Obviously, in the 2 weeks since we were here last, we have not secured a user for that. However, we are aware that not only in this community but many communities, what's happened is that smaller fitness instructors have opened what amounts to a private practice where they train 1 or 2 people at a time. We think this property will be perfect for that. It means less traffic, and the space is ideal. As you noticed, I hope, from an opportunity to review the plans, the other change to the plan is that it is now completely self-contained. It has its own restroom facility so that the public has an opportunity for the ability to make use of that as well. We didn't have that when it was residents only, so we really have changed it to a commercial space. That will be our intention, is to seek a tenant who will lease the space and use it as a training facility. If that doesn't work, we think it will, but if it doesn't work, then we would move on and attempt to find a more robust operator to use it as effectively like a satellite facility. We think that it lends itself now to being in a commercial space, and that's our plan for it. It'll be commercial going forward as the project is developed. The second issue that the commission raised was with respect to the square footage of the units. I think we all acknowledge that the SDD zone does not call out a preferred or required size unit, even though in many other areas of your regulation, in other zones, there are specified unit sizes. We don't find that in the SDD, but you indicated that you were concerned that a lot of the units were too small, really didn't meet your expectations. After really continuous revisions from the time we left the other night until you got these plans dated yesterday, our architects and our clients have worked very hard, and what you have before you now is a set of units that are much larger than what we proposed to begin with. We have one studio unit that remains under 600 feet. Otherwise, we've created units that are much larger, one-bedroom and two-bedroom units. And we gave you a table of those sizes. We can go over those in a minute. But I want you to understand what that meant to the developer, because it's important for you to understand that this is not something that can be taken lightly by a developer. We've given up 12 bedrooms, which is 12 sets of income from this project on a monthly basis. And a bedroom yields about $200 a month in rent, so that there's $2,400 a month in rent that is being foregone to accommodate the commission's request. For those of you who are in the business of understanding financing, $30,000 a year of income is worth about $300,000 of financing. So this is a substantial concession that the developer has made to meet the express wishes of the commission. It did not come easily. These clients have accepted that as a way to rehabilitate this building and to demonstrate its willingness to accommodate the commission's intentions. But it's important that you appreciate, and I hope you do, that this is not without the real commitment of this developer to bringing a quality project to this town and to meeting the expectations of the community and this commission. And we can, I think Commissioner Higley asked that dimensions be provided for the units. There are dimensions now on the unit plan so that you can see how they fit together. To refresh everybody's recollection, there are a variety of units. Every unit has its own laundry facility, so we don't have people wandering out to go to laundry. That's a huge benefit to residents in a facility like this, to be able to do their laundry within their unit. We also have done some reconfiguration to make the one-bedroom units larger by repositioning the two-bedroom units and making a different combination. The architects, I think, did a terrific job on that, as I indicated. When we submitted our first time, of course, we anticipated doing only a residential project with no commercial element. We felt that we needed to have our traffic expert look again at the traffic consequence of having a mixed use. We did submit a written report from Scott Hesketh. Scott is away today, he's traveling. but he did submit a supplement to his original report, and his indication is that the commercial uses that we're proceeding under, health and fitness, perhaps a clinic, perhaps a general office, or some kind of hair, or perhaps a hair salon, none of those uses generate any substantial amount of traffic on a peak hour basis. That he indicates that trip generation for commercial space of this size is anywhere from 1 to 4 trips at the peak hour. So his conclusion in his original report, which was that this did not present any impact on traffic, remains the same with the addition of the commercial use. And we asked him to look at it in a variety of uses because I've expressed what we intend to put there, but you're entitled to know that there are a number of uses that do not cause any disruption from a traffic standpoint. And Ms. Whitten, that report is part of the record. You have that?
They should have all received it this
Okay.
evening. And
If not, I'll
perhaps
submit another
before.
copy. All right. With that, I'll ask Dana to kind of walk through some of the other changes that have occurred in the site plan as well.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. For the record, Dana Steele, professional engineer with J.R. Russo and Associates, 1 Shoham Road, East Windsor. Although the majority of the comments from the last meeting revolved around the architectural plans, there were a few staff comments related to the site plan, as well as a comment from Commissioner Limo regarding amenities for the site. And so we took this opportunity to address those comments and provided revised site plans that you have with you this evening with a few changes. First one regarding the amenities. We recognize that back area of green space behind the building there, the southeast corner, is a great location for some type of outdoor amenity. So we proposed picnic tables and barbecue stations for the residents to be able to picnic out there. The reason why we considered other things like trails and some of these other potential, maybe a dog park and closing it with a fence or something, and those type of amenities would require activity within a wetland regulated area. It requires to go back to the Wetlands Commission for potentially a permit to do those things, and we're not objecting to doing that. Our thought was the picnic tables were a good start, and that we'd like to start with that, and then see what the tenants want. See as they move in. Talked about maybe a putting green, other ideas that might be desirable, but it's going to depend on what the tenants look for. So we think that's a reasonable way to approach it, to offer something up front with the picnic areas, and then we'd be happy to come back with those additional ones, go to the Wetlands Commission if need be, to address those things at that time. But we'd like to try to, if it's agreeable to you, to move forward with those amenities that we've proposed. The other item that was brought up at the meeting was regarding snow storage. So I've shown that on the plan. There's now dashed areas in the landscaped areas around the parking lot where snow can be safely stockpiled. And so that is depicted on the plans. Some other items, staff mentioned a stop sign at the entrance, so we added that. And engineering mentioned standard town notes, which we added to the cover sheet, and some modifications to our details for the concrete work. So we've incorporated those, as well as a couple of items that we mentioned last week but hadn't made it onto the plan, so we've added them, and that's the AC pads that are behind the units. Those are shown now. And secondly, the foundation plantings in the front. So we've now added those. Regulations don't require foundation plantings, but they're typical for a development like this. It's going to look better than just doing grass between the sidewalk and the building. So that's depicted on the landscape plan as well. So we have a mixture of roses and and other plantings to provide a nice softening of the appearance of the building from the parking lot view. So, and that's essentially it. I'd be happy to take out the plans and look at specific sheets if you'd like to have questions about the site plan or changes have been made. We've got a nice rendering there. So you have a couple more, Peter?
I did want to just provide a summary of the manner in which the unit mix was changed. The smaller two-bedroom units were increased from 720 square feet to 778 square feet. The average two-bedroom unit is 1,034, with the largest one being 1,310 square feet. The smallest one-bedroom was increased from 500 square feet to 612 square feet, with the average size being 680 square feet, and the largest one-bedroom being 985 square feet. We still have one studio that's just over 500 square feet and one that's 630 square feet. We couldn't change that smaller studio because it's adjacent to an ADA compliant unit, and so the boundaries of that ADA unit were really fixed, and there was no way that we could borrow any space from that to increase the size of that one studio. But otherwise, we have managed by eliminating the 11 bedrooms to respond to the Commission's request to increase the size of the units. And I think we've done or the architects have done a pretty good job of that based on what we had. I'm sorry, I said it is 12 fewer bedrooms, not 11. That was my mistake. We're happy to answer questions. We have a representative of the developer owner here as well, and we can speak to anything that the Commission may want to talk about.
Thank you. Commissioners? Nelson?
How are you guys? Just a question about your gym. It looks like it's fairly small. And you got a good plan as far as personal trainers, but I don't envision a whole bunch of people going there to work out.
It's small, yeah.
I don't know how you're going to market it, or because I don't know if you guys ever heard of like 24-hour fitness. That's always an option. But I don't know how 1,200 square feet. I mean, realistically, how many people could actually fit in that? I go to a pretty big gym and it gets packed pretty quick. And I don't know what kind of equipment you plan on having in there, like a universal or free weights, or I guess that would all be based on who rents your space.
Who leases it? That's
Yeah,
right.
to them.
For personal training, what you find is that it becomes a function of who they're training and for what purpose. And then you end up with a universal, or you end up with free weights, or you may end up with a Peloton situation.
So I envision like a personal trainer with a
Correct.
specific group of clients.
Having
That
one-
is his fitness studio, which
Right.
really wouldn't be open to the public. It would be exclusive to his clients,
But they would
which is
be-
still a commercial space.
Public could be his
Correct.
clients, though.
But it's
Absolutely.
not, it wouldn't be limited to, where we started with this was it was just going to be residents.
Yep, I get
And
it.
what we moved to is that it would be what we hope is a personal trainer who has a following of people who come in groups of 1, 2, maybe at the most 3 people who have a common goal. And they come, they work out for an hour or however long it is, and they go, and the next group comes in, and he would have scheduled
Sure.
appointments through the day. We think that this space lends itself exactly to a situation like
It's a
that.
great idea. I agree 100%. That's all. I'm good.
Thank you, Nelson. I also agree. It's a great way to try to use the space according to the plan. It keeps us in line with what our past decisions have been. And, who knows? I mean, charge an extra $10, let the tenants go to the gym. It's still a commercial space. and it's open to the public. And like Nelson said, it's not going to be a big gym, but it still satisfies what we need to see as far as a mixed use in the building. So I'm good with that. Commissioner Limo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for taking my concerns into consideration and making that recreation area in the back. And we did talk about trails and paths before, and I understand the logistics of it. On that, can the tenants freely walk to the riverbank? I mean, that is back to your property, right? Isn't that your property line?
There is a chain link fence that separates the property from, because before it was a nursing home, so they didn't want the residents to head down to some place that wouldn't be as safe for elderly or rehabilitating patients. So
that would be your fence.
So there's
that's there.
there's a fence there. I mean, you can walk around the end of the fence. Look at the plan here. The east wing it is open on this side, but the terrain's too steep and it's not easy to walk around this end of the building. It's nice and flat over here, easy to walk. This would be the main access for people getting to the back. There is a stairway here in the building, so you can walk into the building here, down the stairs, and out a walkout in the back too. So you really have two ways through the building and around the building to get to the back area. The fence starts here in this corner and continues all the way around, ends about here. So you can walk around this end of the fence, and you can walk around this end of the fence and get to the river if you want to. But it's our intention was to leave the fence there because it's not really hurting anything, and it's only a 4-foot fence. So.
The fence was installed, obviously, by the nursing home facility.
I believe so. I would assume.
Which makes
that's the
sense.
case,
I mean, I was just, thinking if people want to take a walk down.
Yeah, they can certainly
access the river, walk along the river.
Get down there. The fence maybe limits it a little bit, but maybe that's good to try to only those that are adventurous enough, equipped enough to do that.
Well, you may have some hikers renting.
Right.
So, but I guess my point I want to make is that is your property, right? Right to the river.
Yeah.
They're not going to be trespassing per se if they go along.
No.
Okay. All right.
The river comes right through the southern corner of the property.
Okay. And the other piece was on the units, the apartments. You mentioned bedrooms, correct?
Correct.
You lost bedrooms, but you still have the initial 43 units.
Units.
Right. Just so that's clear, right?
Yes, we have not reduced the number of units, we reduced the number of bedrooms.
Right, because you did that analogy of the rent income and what that gives you for finance purposes.
Correct.
But the amount of total units are still there.
Still the same number, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you for the questions. Thank you, guys.
Dana, the escarpments in the rear behind the fence, are they passable to the average person?
Yeah.
You could climb down them, nobody's going to tumble and roll down into the river?
No.
Okay. I still don't see the square footage in the units.
There's a table on page.
No. I see the table.
Yep.
I just don't see that you're meeting the minimum requirement. I mean, under 4.70.3, the residential development criteria, studio 600, 1 bedroom 700, 2 bedrooms 900. And you're not assisted living, you're not elderly housing, and you're not meeting those requirements.
So, for the 1 bedroom, 700 square feet, we are under that amount with some of them. The average even is just under that 380, I believe. The studio, one of the studios is big. The other one to mention is that one that I thought might be a problem. And I asked them, is there any way we can make this one bigger? And they said, no, we really can't. We know that your adaptive reuse regulations don't have specific requirements. We talked about trying to use this other regulation as a guide, and I think we did the best that we could to come as close as we could to meeting that, and I think that we're close.
If I might, Mr. Chairman, and the risk of disagreeing with you, I don't think that the way your regulation is written with respect to the certain size of units in certain zones, that you can simply take the size prescribed in one zone and move it to another zone. I think that the whole purpose of the SDD zone was to recognize that you had existing buildings. If we were building new, we could provide you with any mix of units you want. But in this case, what we're confined to is the four corners and walls of the building. And so you can't just break them down and build them new. If you tried to do that, first of all, the cost would be prohibitive. The project would never be built. But second of all, the building structure is built the way it's built, and the architects have to work with that. I think we went as far as we can in the terms of the size of the units. We're at least within hailing distance of the expectations that you have. In fact, some of our units are much bigger than what other zones require. We have, a two-bedroom unit that's 1,300 square feet. We have one-bedroom units that are, a one-bedroom unit is 985 square feet. Our architects had to work with the building that exists. And in that regard, what we've done is sacrificed a great deal of financial strength to try to accommodate this commission's intentions. But at the end of the day, a reading of your SDD regulation doesn't call out a unit size. And I understand that that's maybe something you want to look at in the future as something that you need to change. But for an applicant coming forward and making every effort to meet the sole purpose of the zone, which is to enable the rehabilitation or adaptive reuse of vacant, deteriorated, underutilized buildings, that's what you have now. And we've done the best we can for unit sizes. If it's not acceptable to you, then we really don't have anywhere else to go. We've spent a lot of hours over the last 2 weeks and sacrificed a substantial amount of income to meet what you indicated were your expectations, and we've come as close as we can, and I think we are pretty close. I think that if a commission is concerned about precedent, if somebody comes in with an abandoned nursing home that has a particular configuration, then this is a precedent. If somebody comes in with a huge building that is basically an empty shell, they can't expect to have units with this variety of sizes. They have to meet the standards for whatever zone they're in. So I think that, first of all, the SDD zone does not require any particular size, and it doesn't even require any particular density. We gave you the information that indicated we were much less dense than, for example, the project closest to us. We're even less dense now. We got rid of 12 more bedrooms, and even though we have the same number of units, we have many fewer residents because we've eliminated 12 bedrooms. I think we've met the requirements of your regulation. I think we've met the expectation of your regulation, and we've provided you with a plan that takes a building that has been abandoned and turns it into something that this town can really not only benefit from but be proud of, and make it a valuable asset in the community instead of an eyesore on Hazard Avenue. So I would ask you to give every consideration to having some flexibility on the size of the units.
So everybody who has a rundown mini storage unit right now should come forward and, with your logic, should be able to put a one-bedroom apartment in a 100-square-foot unit.
If they have the plumbing and the windows.
It doesn't say that in the regulation either.
Those are building code matters. We still have to comply with building codes. You've got to have plumbing, you've got to have electricity, you've got to have insulation.
And what I'm saying is the residential development guidelines, which you fall under, you're not assisted living, you're not elderly housing, you're none of them, you're residential housing. And there is square footage for residential housing. And you're not even close.
I would respectfully disagree.
And you say your building is your limit. So you're bound by the boundaries of the building that exists, okay? I've been building for 30 years. A nursing home has a common corridor right down the center of each wing, correct? So why can't you take 2 rooms on one side and 1 room on the other, combine them, and make a unit there? Now you have egress on both ends of the building like you have now, and then take 3 units just like this, and you have plenty square footage. So you're here trying to maximize your profit, and profit is not our purview. It has nothing to do with us. You can get the square footage out of this building with no problem whatsoever. You just don't want to limit your units.
Less units, yeah.
Right.
Right.
And that doesn't fall on us.
With all due respect, Mr. Chairman, it does fall on you if one of the concerns is that a project has financial viability, and the project will not have financial viability.
But when the owner purchased the building, was it residential housing? No.
No.
And he purchased it anyways. So to come here and try to force us to make a decision on something that doesn't meet the code anywhere, that's not us. That's not on
I
us.
simply don't agree that it doesn't meet the code.
Okay.
I think it does meet the code. I think it meets the requirements of the SDD. Maybe you're-
So tell me why you can't take 3 of the existing rooms and make 1 apartment out of it. Why are you just doing 2? 1 right across from the other. You're doing it to maximize your profit, correct?
No, we're doing it, no, that's not
No?
true. No, we're doing it to maintain a viable financial project. That's not, maximizing your profit would be to keep the 12 bedrooms that we already gave up. We've surrendered that. But it's as far as we can go and make this project work.
Right. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? John?
I guess I got a question with respect to the unit sizes. I guess for staff, is there something that we need to look at, whether it's a waiver for a reduction in unit sizes, or can we act on this as is?
You know, the applicant is correct in stating that there are no requirements for the SDD as far as density or the unit size. We tried to relay this the last time we went through this. There is no requirement.
Okay.
You could put a requirement in, but as it is written currently, there are no requirements for the unit sizes. You know, they've made a great attempt to try to make this a viable project for the town and for the owner. You know, in general, housing sizes and apartments are going smaller. You know, people want smaller houses. They want smaller units. They don't want to take care of things. You know, they don't want a yard. So, I mean, I don't see a problem with this. You know, I look at this and it's like, I have a 1,000 square foot house and I've got 3 bedrooms. And we're looking at, you know, 700 feet for.
I certainly agree with that philosophy.
Yeah, I mean, that just.
I also wanted to point out that it looks like the gymnasium, you've more than double the size of the square footage of the gymnasium to accommodate the public. Is that's what I'm seeing?
It got bigger and we added a bathroom
Correct. Yeah.
to make it a public option.
I don't
Sure.
think it doubled, but it's
Yeah.
bigger.
It's pretty big. Yeah. So I commend you for doing that, and it makes it a lot more viable for what you want to do. So. And all the other conditions, it seems that you've, met with the previous meetings request adding and amending the plan, so good job. I'd like to commend the applicant for doing that, so thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner Ryan?
Okay, so probably to staff. So we're under the STD zone, correct? DD. D, right. Yep, okay. So under that, they comply and they meet the regulation.
They appear to meet the criteria that is written in the section 5.60.
Okay, so I just want to be,
There is no criteria for unit sizes, or the density is supposed to be based on the general area, which they've.
that's what I want to get clear on. I'm
Yeah.
not, and I'm listening to what Chairman Nelson is saying about the square footage. So is that overlaying another part of our,
It's trying to, I understand the reasoning behind trying to meet the other criteria, but it's not written into this regulation. So,
Neither are bathrooms. So a storage unit could do the same thing with a 10 by 10 unit.
well, again, you start out getting into building code and,
But they could add bathrooms, Lori.
well,
If they could pull a building permit and add a bathroom to a 10 by 10 unit, according to what you're saying, it meets this, which is absurd.
this is
We
a
have
special
residential-
permit. If you feel that that doesn't meet it, then you can deny it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
if a mini warehouse comes in, it's pretty unlikely that you're going to be turning that into residential without substantial improvements.
But it is possible with the way you're interpreting the regulation.
I suppose it would be.
Okay.
Can I
Thank you.
make
but
make a comment?
where I'm going here is if you're complying and you meet our requirement for this zone, and Chairman Nelson, and I'm listening to him because I know he's very experienced in this area, he's overlaying another piece. I know what he means, that we have another set of regulations that if somebody was going to come in and build a new multifamily dwelling, they would have to meet those requirements that he's talking about. Is that the rub? Is that where we're at? So it's just so I can understand? Okay.
Could I make a comment too? When talking about like a storage unit, one thing to keep in mind is that the reason why we're here is because this property was changed to the SDD zone, which is a very specific zone. It's just for adaptive reuse. So if there's a storage unit and someone comes to you, they'd have to first come to you for a zone change, and you don't have to approve the zone change.
And
So-
I didn't.
So it doesn't have to get to that point. I understand. But it doesn't have to get to that point because if the use is not suitable for adaptive reuse, then you can you can say no to the zone change. But the commission determined that this property was suitable for adaptive reuse, and the zone was changed, and that's where we are today. So this is different than another property that is not in the SDD. So I think that's
Right, I understand, and you weren't in the SDD a month ago either.
Right.
And that's the problem when you don't have plans in front of you when you change zoning, because you're basically saying, we gave you an open door to do whatever you want in this property. And that's what I tried to advise my fellow commissioners, but they approved it. So here we are now, you're trying to maximize the amount of units you can cram in this building instead of following our residential regulations, which you're making it residential housing. So I don't know how you don't feel the residential regulation doesn't fit.
Mr. Chairman, and obviously you and I are not going to agree on this. First of all, the zone change, any zone change that comes before you actually should not have any specific
I understand.
plans. That's not what you do. When you act as the zoning authority, you're deciding whether a particular parcel fits within the criteria that you set out in your regulation. It's not because you like the peak roof or the green shutters, it's because the property fits the requirements of the zone. And we clearly have a building that was vacant, deteriorated, and underutilized on a piece of property. That's exactly what the zone was designed to create. So you can't ask an applicant to give you plans of what they're going to build when they ask for a zone change. That's actually improper. Can't
I
do that.
agree. I agree. So we do agree on that.
But-
And
but
it's
let me-
also was said when the zone was changed, we'll have a chance to vote on what you intend to do with the building at that time.
Absolutely.
And that's the time right now.
And to that point, what we've done, and this is a site plan approval, so we don't want to lose sight of that. There's not a special permit, and it's not a zone change. This is an administrative act to be taken by this commission based on whether or not this application complies with Section 560, which is the special requirements for the Special Development District. I would submit, and certainly you can consult with staff as well, that we meet every element of this zone for this approval. And we've gone beyond what we thought we had to do by providing an active commercial space and by changing the unit mix to make the units bigger. We've done everything we can to satisfy this. I think we've demonstrated that our density is not excessive compared to what's around us and compared to other potential densities that you have in this community. So when you act as an administrative agency for site plan approval, what you have to say is, does it meet the regulation? And we can disagree on whether we do or not. Our position is that we meet every element of the regulation. And when you say, yeah, but your client went ahead and bought this property, our clients are very sophisticated developers. They own over 4,000 apartment units that they manage in Connecticut and New York. They're aware of what the regulation said. They consulted with me, they consulted with Dana, and said, can we meet this regulation? And the answer is we do. We do. So on that basis, we would expect that with the SDD zone in place, we could comply with this regulation, and we do comply with it.
Let me,
Lori.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Lori.
Adaptive reuse regulations assume that they're probably not going to be able to meet the local regulations. That's why we have this adaptive reuse section. That way, they do the best they can with what platform they have to work with, and they try to meet all the criteria. And the only criteria that we have in here does not discuss the unit sizes. And again, we can add that, but it doesn't discuss that in the current regulation. Again, the adaptive reuse assumes that you're not going to meet the regulations because there's no regulation for all of these different odd buildings that, schools and churches and, assisted living facilities.
The mall. The square, yeah.
But that is not zoned SDD.
Not yet, it's not. But they could come in for a zone change.
But that's a different.
I understand
different
that.
property.
Hazardville School. Did that do the zone change to the SDD?
Yes, it did.
Yes, it did. And we held them to the square footage for the units,
Right.
correct?
Right, but
Thank
we
you.
also
Set a
said
precedence. Thank you.
that. But we also said that was not required.
No,
So.
okay. Commissioner Limo.
Question, you guys probably could answer this, and you're very familiar with the inside of that building. It's been years since I've been there. So there was a hallway, a common hallway out on all the wings and rooms on both sides. So with that, there was a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom. So how many beds do you think were in there when it was a nursing home?
I think there was 100 beds, my recollection, from the things that I read when they went through the bankruptcy and the court closing and
So
ordering everybody to vacate.
So it housed 100 people. So if you add up your bedrooms, you're nowhere near 100 people.
No.
One of the problems, too, with a common corridor is that it takes up a lot of room, and that's the reason why it was eliminated, because that common corridor is not counting towards square footage of any units. So you're actually going backwards by keeping a corridor in the center. If there's no concern whatsoever for the unit count, then to your point, that doesn't matter. But
I think you misunderstood me. I'm not saying keep the common corridor. What I'm saying is there was a common corridor, and you just connected across it. So you could take 2 units, 2 bedrooms from one side, and add it to 1 bedroom on the other side, going right through the common corridor. So the apartment is now an L.
L shape, yeah.
Instead of straight across.
Yeah.
And then you did a reverse L for the next unit, and so on and so forth.
I think that's
And
kinda
that
what
would
they did.
increase. That would
A lot
increase
of-
the size of your unit, so you're not bound by the limit of the building, because you could add as many bedrooms as you wanted. You could do 1 bedroom on one side of the wing and 6 bedrooms down the other side. Doesn't matter, because there's no common corridor cutting them in half. So you could do any configuration you want to make that work. I'm not buying that the limit of the building is binding you to the square footage, and that's what you're trying to sell us. And it's,
Well, the building only has so much square footage, and you can only divide it up.
so if you take the same square footage and drop off 5 units, do the units get bigger?
Sure,
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
that's your point, okay.
thank you.
And I think that's what I raised before when we were talking about the bedrooms. When I looked down and I remembered it was the same amount of units. Because you were saying about the sacrifice, of the developer, and I appreciate everything you guys done over the last 2 weeks, believe me, and it's a lot of work here. But the units are still the same. And that's,
The unit count is the
Right,
same.
right.
What we did
you
was we
reduced the
lost-
number of beds.
We lost the number of 2-bedroom units,
And- right.
make 1-bedroom units larger.
Right.
And make the studios larger.
And that's where you came up with the $300 a month each.
All set?
Yeah.
Anyone else? How do you guys want to proceed?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve SPR 1858, 612 Hazard Avenue, site plan review application with revised plans dated 5/26/21 for adaptive reuse within an SDD zone to allow for an apartment complex in the former Blair Manor facility. Meadow Manor LLC, owner applicant, map 110, lot 343, SDD zone, DOR 42221, MAD, never mind, that shouldn't be in there, I apologize. That shouldn't be in there. So it's the SDD zone.
Mr. Chairman, before you advance, may I have a moment to speak with my client?
Sure.
Change that SDD zone to put some, we need to change the SDD zone to put.
This one down here? Yeah, well, I mean, the building existing and the building pros are the same because we're not modifying it.
way that look, that's not from like a drone right now, is it?
No, it's been,
The changes have been
there's drawing on top of it, sort of a mixture of photo and drawing.
Shadow
so-
lines and
Yeah.
things like that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, appreciate the courtesy. Thank you, we're all set.
All set?
All set.
Proceed.
The motion's made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion is made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Ken Nelson.
I am against because I don't believe the building is the reason for the minimum square footage. That does not meet any of our square footage regulations. I believe they can increase the size of the units by eliminating some of the units.
Virginia Higley against, because we set the precedent with the Hazardville Grammar School, and I really don't want to set another precedent, so that's why I'm voting against. Frank Alamo,
I vote for.
John Petronella,
For.
Vinnie Grillo,
For.
Nelson Carrero,
I'm going to vote against. I believe the unit should also be bigger, and we've already set a precedent, so that's why I'm voting against.
All in favor, 3 against.
no, I thought it was 3 and 3. One,
Thank you very much.
I thought it was 3 and 3.
3-3.
What does that mean?
Motion fails.
Fails.
There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, there's only 6 of us
They
here. I
could've
thought
waited
there was
till
7
next-
of us here.
They could have waited till the next meeting. They chose not to.
I don't know.
To a not-for-profit, take it off the tax rolls.
That's it, that's all we're gonna do.
Now they'll sue us.
Well, then they need to put something in the regulations. We prove it, we set precedent. Okay, I see that Patrick and Jeanette Talarita have shown up. Can I get a motion to move them up to new public hearings?
So moved.
C. Motion's made, is there a second?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
The Enfield Planning and Zoning Commission will hold public hearings at their next regular meeting of Thursday, June 10th, 2021 at 7 p.m. in the Town Hall Council Chambers, 820 Enfield Street, Enfield, Connecticut, concerning the following application. PH 3009, 11 Pearl Street. Special permit and site plan review application for the reuse of the former Thompsonville Fire Department building as a mixed-use residential and commercial beer/wine tap room with outdoor seating. Map 24, Lot 65, TD 5, Zone. Patrick and Jeanette Talarita applicants, Winter Street Corporation owners.
Roll call, please.
Ken Nelson.
Here.
Virginia Higley, here. Frank Alamo.
Here.
John Petronella.
Here.
Vinnie Grillo.
Here.
And Nelson Correa.
Welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. How are you and the commission this
good.
evening?
I am
I am
good.
sorry, I was sitting in front of a computer watching the screen scroll, waiting. I did not know you were meeting live. But,
And my
Pain.
apologies from staff.
Everybody uses that excuse, okay?
look at my clothes. I had a good shirt on, so you could see me from above.
Well, welcome. Tell us a little bit about what you'd like to do.
So, we'd like to, we're in the process, we're in our due diligence period right now to purchase the former Thompsonville Firehouse at 11 Pearl Street. We'd like to turn that, the second floor into our permanent residence for our retirement home. And that would be the first phase of the project of what we'd like to do, utilizing 2 bays on the first floor, the 2 bays to the skiers' right, or the right side near Corona's Market, as the garage for our residents. And then our second phase of the project would be to have a seasonal tap room. We would not produce the beer or the wine Our desire is to utilize local breweries, regional breweries, Connecticut breweries, Massachusetts breweries, and serve them on a rotating basis, seasonally, along with wine. And the idea is, initially, right now, we'd like to do a food item would be a wood-fired pizza. It's a seasonal operation we want to have from mid-spring till mid-fall, operating 3 to 4 nights a week, probably 3. I'm not looking for a full-time job. I'm looking for a part-time recreation, retirement career. So something to keep us busy, and I think something that would be nice for the Thompsonville area to attract people to the area, and something for what the town is trying to accomplish down there. And I'm sorry, I'm Patrick Talarita for the record, and this
And I'm
is
Jeanette Talarita for the record.
And your address, please.
14.
Go ahead.
She can tell.
1400 Enfield Street, Enfield, Connecticut.
Thank you. Is that it?
That is our plan.
Well, I think you did a tremendous job selling your wife on the ultimate man cave, because holy smokes, I wish I thought of this back. Let me tell you.
It is a joint effort, I assure you. But the cooperation is definitely needed.
To both see the vision is also a plus.
Good. Well, I think it's definitely a vision I've seen that would be perfect for that firehouse. Whether it was a brewery or something, a tap room like you're doing, I think it is great down there. The only drawback that I see right now is you do have a B&B as part of this,
Yep.
which again does not meet any of the regulations because they don't exist, and therefore it doesn't meet any of the square footage requirements in our regulation. So if you were to add that space from the B&B to the apartment, then I'm good with everything you're doing, but with the B&B, it's going to be a problem in my eyes.
And maybe you can explain, I thought, reading the regulations, that Airbnbs, that nightly rentals were allowed within that zone. I don't have the regulations before me, but the way I read it was that that was an allowable use. And the desire really on our part is that we don't, it's a fairly large building.
Mm-hmm.
We really don't have a need for 3 bedrooms. My idea really is my mom and dad right now, I'm kind of leaning towards that might be a place that they'll come and stay. But we thought that as an extra income, an extra little side job, that we'd have an Airbnb there, so that when we had company come, we could reserve it for ourselves, but we might be able to do something with it. It has a perfect entrance and exit for that, and it sets up nicely. But I was under the impression, the way I read the regulations, that was an allowable use within this community. And that's why I put it forward, that I'd like to.
Do you know what section of the regulations you cited?
You know, Virginia, I don't have the regulations before me, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Lori's looking right now. Well, I would think you'd want to keep it, because if mom and dad are in one bedroom and you spend too much time in the tap room, you're going to be in the 3rd bedroom because she's going to be throwing you out.
Well, there are 3 bedrooms.
Yeah.
So.
You're allowed to rent rooms anyway, even if you don't call it an Airbnb.
Yeah, whatever I want. I wanted to be very upfront with what I'm attempting to do. I didn't want to go, when I built
So
it,
if you
when I,
make it a 3 or 4 bedroom apartment, get rid of the Airbnb.
it's only a 1-bedroom apartment.
They are allowed to rent rooms. Anybody can rent a room, and if the room
Would you
happens
be
to be...
renting 2 rooms?
1.
One room, okay.
Right. So it's
Yeah. Yeah, so you don't have to call it an Airbnb to rent a room. And if you saw it in the regs, that would be great, but I didn't see it, and I was just curious as to where it was.
Yeah, I think I read it as that I could rent a room on a
Yes,
nightly
you can,
basis.
but you
I
can't
just
call
don't
it
want
an
to,
Airbnb.
I don't want to get into, I want
absolutely
agreement so that once I do something down the road, that I'm not in any violation of anything.
You can
So-
even rent the apartment out. I mean, however you want to do it, I'm not limiting you to, it's got to be family or whatever.
So however it's classified, I only classified it as Airbnb for the simplicity of the term. But a rental
Yeah, but
That's all.
gotta be- it can't be a monthly rental on a one.
So,
It's gotta be.
oh, I'm sorry.
Go
I
ahead,
didn't
Laura.
realize you were talking. So under Section 8, first of all, remember this is TD,
Yeah.
Thompsonville District.
That's why I
Yeah,
asked.
so,
yeah.
Section 8.122.1, Note 7, room rental is allowed only as an accessory use to a principal dwelling, which this would be, used by the owner, yes, as his or her residence, and must comply with Section 430.5, which says renting of rooms to not more than 2 guests.
Yeah.
Not in cellar, meals may be provided, off-street parking shall be provided, and single-family residential character of the building shall be maintained.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
That's
that
what I
that
was
fits.
interpreting.
I think
Just
we're
get rid of the
getting
word
hung up.
Airbnb.
It's
Yes, I
stricken
think-
from the,
yeah.
you'll never see it again.
Are meals going to be provided? Because I remember
They
the
may
political
be.
parties at your house, Jeanette, so I may be renting from you to get
To
the free
to
meal.
select guests.
Yes, just yes.
Questions? Ginny?
Okay, first of all, I'm glad that you're flexible and we can just delete the Airbnb and just room rental is fine. I have to say that it was great to read that you're going to do a green roof and you're working with the utilities. It's going to be a wonderful reuse of the property. I just had a couple things, and it's just me. I have a thing about mid-spring to mid-fall or mid-summer to mid-winter. I'd rather you do and this is just me, but I'd rather it be done like mid-April to mid-November or whatever you want it to be. But I noticed we set precedent tonight, and we've set precedent before, and I have this thing about just saying mid-spring. That's just me. So that was my one thing. And the only thing I had concern about, and I'm sure you won't have this problem, but Corona's parking lot. I would hate to see, he works so hard to keep everything going in that store.
Yeah.
I would hate to see the tap room people park over there and, drive them out.
I've known Tony since kindergarten, graduated high school with him. We were Alta boys together. I've had multiple conversations with him. I want to be a partner with him in the development down there and spurring on that part of town. Him and I have been talking about a lot of different things. One of the things that I would ask the town of Enfield is that the parking in front of Corona's, get a sign that says only 15 or 20-minute parking so that people that are coming to the tap room aren't there. I will discourage that as well. I want to make sure I keep the driveway open for Corona's to go through. Tony and I are talking about sharing maybe garbage pickup so we limit that type of stuff. So yeah, I'm not looking to, matter of fact, if you can see I'm trying to work with Tony that maybe some of the food products that he has, that we would have microwaves that people could, bring over and to do there. So yeah, I want to complement what Corona's is doing. I'm not looking to infringe
Thank you.
upon what they are.
Okay, thank you. That answers my questions.
Commissioner Petronella?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. You've got a question with respect to the building elevation plans. I don't see any. So are you proposing any exterior renovations
None.
to it whatsoever? Because obviously you got the 4 overhead doors. You're keeping those?
Yes.
Okay.
The only exterior change that we're making is that we received a variance from Zoning Board of Appeals to put a deck on the second floor out back
Yeah.
off of our kitchen for our personal use.
Yeah, okay.
That's the only addition that we are
Overlooking
doing
the pond?
to overlook the pond and waterfall.
Yeah, I have some knowledge, extensive knowledge of the building, the structure itself, and sure does Commissioner Limo. So looking at this, I certainly commend you for taking this on. There's going to be a fair amount of work there structurally and so forth. I see you're planning to put in an elevator.
We are personal elevator. I don't plan on staying young forever.
What's wrong with the fire pole?
Good luck with that.
Doesn't go up.
One way.
Well, maybe you can.
Yeah, right.
But good luck. I certainly can appreciate the project. I think it'd be a great addition to the downtown.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. All set?
No,
Commissioner Limo?
yeah, Pat, thank you. Thanks for coming before us. I like the project. Just a couple questions. Off what Virginia Higley was saying, Commissioner Higley, on your hours or your time frame, why don't you just have it out of there and just have it all year? I mean, why you? Well, not that you have to. You still. I hate to see us tell an applicant when you can operate. I'm just not for that. And operate when you want.
I guess I maybe. So if your approval, you're approving it for just that period of time based upon.
That's what you're asking.
What you're asking for, yeah. I don't.
And I agree with Commissioner Alamo. Don't limit yourself, because it may be a tap room during these months,
Right.
but maybe it's a
Christmas
soda
party.
fountain
What about
during
yeah.
the rest of the season, or
I wasn't looking at it from that regard. Again, I was trying to be. The reason I was saying seasonal
Yep.
is because we don't necessarily might not be here during the winter months.
Right. Under,
But
so you may have a manager that is.
But
or
we
something.
might. So can I change that to be a tap room?
well, if we'll make it a condition of our approval that we eliminate the limited
seasonal
use.
aspect?
Yeah, because you're going to have to deal with the ATF as far as their hours of operation and stuff like that anyway, so.
Sure.
Who are we to limit it? And there's very little residential around you, so.
I appreciate that.
And I think what you're talking about with Corona Supermarket and everything is what has to happen in Thompsonville to make it work. Everybody's got to work together, or it's just not going to work. And you guys are making the first step, and it's huge.
So, so eliminating the seasonal and eliminating the only 4 days a week.
Yeah, I would.
I'm good with that.
I would
And then
go-
we can do as we wish with it.
What I would say is follow the Liquor Control Commission's hours of operation.
Yep, that's fine.
And just use that, because they're going to govern it anyway.
No, I
So,
appreciate that.
and then why confine yourself or constrain yourself to that?
You never know. Dad may want to run it while you're down in Florida.
Or you
for
may
the
have,
winter.
you got the boys, I mean, you may have a manager, anyway, so the other thing was,
I appreciate that.
you're welcome, no problem. So the private storage, is that something that you could expand upon later? I mean, you may have to come back to us, I don't know, but you have a storage area, right?
It's the private storage.
On the first floor?
That's just you're right, that's used as, we're using it as our garage
For yourselves?
for
Right.
ourselves.
So,
That really is his man cave.
That's what I said.
That's buying me a fire truck.
there you go. Again, this I think is going to be a big hit, and I just don't want to see you lock yourself into not being able to use that other half of the building down the road. So I don't know and I'm not sure the logistics of the approval, if that.
Well, look,
know-
I'm willing to get the boundaries. Again, we're trying to be forthright and with what, I mean,
What we
if
had
it
in
got
mind.
approved that it was the whole first floor and we never used it, I mean, I can't envision it because I need a.
You need a garage.
I need a garage.
Right. No, I'm just
So,
kind of thinking
there's
on
no
the.
room to build one on the outside.
I'm just kind of thinking on the same as the hours of operation piece of that.
But that's also part of the required parking.
Okay, all right, I just wanted to make
For the
sure that
dwelling
that's
units
been
on
addressed
site.
correctly.
Well, we could always come back if we only had to use one bay.
Right, that's what I meant.
Could expand it.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
So could we-
Absolutely.
could we
You can
get
always come
approval-
back.
Or
Or-
could we get approval to be the 3 bays right now?
Yeah.
And that way, at least I meet my garage aspect.
And give you some wiggle room.
Right.
I don't want
I-
to confuse it.
No,
Any more
I
than
just,
I've
I'm
already
just
had.
bringing this stuff out because I'm looking at it now and then trying to look down the road a little bit too. And if you have to come, Laura, can you enlighten us on that, the logistics of that piece?
If you want to expand it now and not use it, you have that opportunity. So otherwise, if you don't include it now and you want to expand an area for liquor use, then you would have to come back.
I can always shrink it. It's
You can
more
always
difficult.
Or
shrink
you
it.
don't
can't-
have to use it.
Right, I don't.
You know, and
So if you
that's-
add the third bay?
we don't want to tie your hands.
That's where I'm going.
It
No.
may not happen for 5 years, but in 5 years, if you're ready to do it, you can do it.
Exactly.
I mean, we want to back you guys 100% and rent the room out. Just don't call it Airbnb.
That's where I'm
The
going with
apartment,
this.
And this
Okay.
this is open to the public, or is it going to be like a private club?
The tap room?
Yeah.
It'll be open to the public.
Again, something else just for consideration that I'd like to just bring out tonight.
This will be open to the pedestrians coming off of the train and walking up to the brewery.
I knew there was a catch, Pat. You always got a catch.
So the other thing is, dovetailing off Commissioner Petronella, I really commend you guys for taking this on. I think it's a great thing to preserve the building itself.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, it's incredible effort, and really I commend you for it, and to keep the history alive in Thompsonville. And, for me, this has just come full circle. I spent my life in that building, and, we often talked about, someday will it ever be what you're doing or similar to what you're doing. And, it makes me feel a lot better that I dug in and fought for that new fire station to make this all happen. So I really, really commend you guys for taking this on. And I've been in that kind of business, and you're jumping into something that's difficult. So
Thank you.
Really, and the other thing is, I'm really glad that you're making my office, my old office, a guest room and not a restroom. I appreciate that.
We'll put a sign up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Are you all set?
We are.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to open up public hearing 3009 11 Pearl Street, special permit and site plan review for the reuse of the former Thompsonville Fire Department building as a mixed-use residential and commercial beer, wine, tap room with outdoor seating. Anybody who would like to speak in favor or against, please come forward, state your name and address for the record. Going for the first time? Second time? And going for the third time? Okay, seeing none, how would the commission like to proceed?
Proceed to close the public hearing.
Motion's made to close the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded by Commissioner Grillo. All in favor of closing the public hearing? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Public hearing is closed. So how would you like to proceed? I would like to add as a condition of approval, or remove a condition of approval limiting the hours
I don't think
and
it's in
months.
here. Lori, is it in here with the hours and months?
I believe I read that.
All right,
No,
this is
no, I
what he
know, but the
proposed,
conditions of approval.
It's in there. I think it's in our,
It's in his application.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So how do we,
So
I
just-
made
you
it a
just say
condition
that
of
there
approval.
shall be no time limits for season or time limits.
okay, I want to remove any time restraints.
Season, time.
So the brewery can be open all year.
Yes, within the hours of the federal,
Yeah, that'll be
ATF.
21, and 22 would be the change to the first floor bay area.
Right, so
Adding-
addition of the third bay
Third bay? Okay.
for the brewery.
Is it the first floor, third bay? Just third
Is that
bay.
that
Just
is
third
first
bay.
floor, right?
Okay.
Yes.
how many bays are in there?
Four.
Makes
Well, we
sense.
called it, we started from the other end always. Bay
Okay.
1 was next to Corona's, Bay 2.
Okay.
So you're going the other.
And you guys are both good with that?
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve PH 3009 11 Pearl Street, special permit and site plan review application for the reuse of the former Thompsonville Fire Department building as a mixed-use residential and commercial beer/wine tap room with outdoor seating. Map 24, Lot 65, TD5 Zone, Patrick and Jeanette Tellerita applicants, Winter Street Corporation owners, according to the 22 conditions in the memo dated, no date, in the memo, in staff memo.
I'll second it.
Motion's made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Ken Nelson.
4.
Virginia Higley, 4. Frank Alimo.
4.
John Petronella.
4.
Vinnie Grillo.
4.
Nelson Correa.
4.
All in favor, none against. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Good luck.
What's that?
She wants to see the green roof when it's done.
Oh, yeah. Once the, we'll get you up there.
Just let some moss grow on it.
Thank you very much.
When are
We
you
look-
looking to open up? Any idea?
The top room wouldn't be until next summer when I retire.
Great. Well, best of luck to you both.
Yep.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Take care, guys.
Take care.
Okay, back on track. New business, seeing none, or old business, 612, we did. New business, seeing none. Other business, extension request, public hearing 2943 Zero Shaker Road. Request a 3-year extension of time to pull a building permit from July 11, 2021 to a July 11, 2024. A 3-year extension of time to complete the project from July 11, 2024 to July 11, 2027. Shaker Pines Fire District, number 5, owner applicant. Welcome.
Good evening. Captain Preisner, Shaker Pines Fire. I reside at 99 Lake Road, Enfield, Connecticut.
Welcome.
How is everybody?
Good.
How are you?
So, we're asking for this extension because of a little thing called coronavirus. It kind of dampened everything.
What's it called?
COVID-19. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No.
No. We used to have to wear masks. So we're just asking for an extension for that so that we can start getting our meetings back together and everything back on track. We were kind of busy last year, so
Great.
all the departments. So we're just asking for that.
Questions? Roll call. To approve the extension.
Ken Nelson.
4.
Virginia Higley, 4. Frank Alamo.
4.
John Petronella.
4.
Vinnie Grillo.
4.
Nelson Correa.
4.
All in favor? Good luck.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Good night.
Thanks for your patience.
Discussion with consultant. Don had a family emergency. He had to cancel. That's fine. Family first, always. Correspondence. Seeing none. Commissioners' correspondence. Commissioner Limo.
Lori, the old mobile station on the corner of 190 and Middle, it's been vacant, abandoned for years. I know there was some kind of leak there or whatever. Is there an update on what's going on there? That thing's an eyesore. I mean, it's even blight. Kind of getting sick of looking at that. Can you give us some information on the owner or the status or whatever you have?
I don't have anything currently, but I could get that for you.
Would you please?
I know that we've dealt with them. I know that we've been looking, I know Blight and Zoning has been working with them as far as violations, but there's graffiti and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I
I'd
just
like
have
to
to
see,
check and see what the status is.
I'd like to see that get put back up on the priority list. I mean, it's right on our main drag of our town, and, you know, we're always making, you know, homeowners and everybody else comply to our regulations, so I think that needs to be looked at again. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Certainly.
All set? Commissioner Limo?
I'm all set. Thank you.
Anyone else? I just have one, and it's one of those things, one of the reasons that I got involved is, you know, how come the town can do it, but we as residents can't? So the question is, if a business puts an A-frame sign out on the street curb, they get violated, correct?
It's my understanding, yes.
Okay. And all I'm saying, and I want to be clear, I'm not against the farmer's market, but who gave them permission to put those signs all over town on the street belt? Because I never approved it. Did any of you? And I'm not against it, but how does the town get away with doing that, but a local business or a restaurant that's struggling can't? That's not right. And I know it's opening a can of worms because I support the farmer's market, but we got to do what's right for everybody, and the town is no better than a resident. The town is the residents.
I do believe that it came about through COVID, the lack of COVID restrictions, so.
They're all over town, Lori. You see exactly what I'm,
I
it's
know-
not
I know
right.
exactly
You know,
what you're
it's like
talking
what
about,
happened at
but
HB
there-
Stowe School.
Yeah,
Dig it
so-
up and don't ask, that's not right. So can we have them pull a permit or something, or whatever's got to get done to make them legit, like a resident has to do, or eliminate it from the code so the small businesses can do it without being violated?
That's what I would like to see.
Well, they're only doing it because of COVID. We allowed it just for COVID. They put them out during the day, they take them down at night. The farmer signs are up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I'm not against it. But what I'm saying is allow the residents or the businesses to do it also. That's only fair.
Oh, yeah,
So
okay.
I'm for taking it out and let everybody do it. Let the businesses do it as well.
you can't let them do what they want. There's got to be
Well,
some.
they'd have to come for a permit, but, you know,
And I'm sorry to the
Let's
people
support
with
the
the farmer's
businesses.
market, because I support you 100%, but I'm just trying to make a point. And I know Lori. So, you know, fire departments do it too, you know, but I ain't opening that can of worms. There are a bunch of men that come after me. My house is in one of the districts. Okay,
Okay.
that's all I have. Anyone else? Okay. Director of Development Services report.
Oh, she left.
Left.
To take down the aprons.
I don't have a whole lot, but I will just say that the farmer's market is running every Sunday from 10 to 1. I wasn't able to go to the opening session last week, but I heard it was well attended, despite the heat.
What do you mean, opening session?
Oh, well, the first farmer's market was last weekend.
But I went at Christmas.
No, the one out here.
Oh, on the green.
Yeah, on the green.
Oh, they're back.
That's
I
what the
went to
signs
the-
are for.
I didn't even look at them.
The signs that you don't like,
Well,
that's what
what's
they're
the one
for.
in the mall?
What?
The one that was in the mall? Or the square?
No, this is the one that we had on the green last year, and then we moved to the mall. Now we're.
Oh, it's the same
back,
one.
It's back
Oh,
open.
all right. Okay.
So it
It's their
started
first
last
one
weekend.
back on the green.
Yes.
Yeah, it's back on the green.
Yeah. Welcome
You
back.
should read the signs. They've
I'm
listen-
busy driving and I'm not taking my eyes off the road.
Right. The other thing is we have quite a few beds left for the community garden. So if anybody's interested, we've still got lots of beds. Green Manor, there's $25, but that gives you plants and the dirt and tools and whatnot. We've got a lot at Lafayette Park and a lot at Green Manor. A couple left at Alcorn. There's actually a couple left in Thompsonville and Chapel, too. Not many, but a few. So if anybody's interested, pass the word. And looks like that the state has approved funding for the train station, so we're like moving ahead. So, woo-woo. So maybe Tallarita's tap room and the train station will open up around the same time. Hopefully he'll open up sooner.
It's the gateway to the train station,
Oh.
so.
No, I know. It's a great spot. So, not much else. We're just busy.
do you know if Win Stanley pulled their building permits yet, or what's going on with
They
that?
are in the process of review.
Okay.
See, they staked it.
We've got all this, their Mylar signed, and they're just posting bonds at this point. But
So the
yeah,
court case-
it's already in building.
Court
building,
case
huh?
is done?
Pardon?
We voted on it.
I know we voted, but it still had to go to court.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We got to go back, for signatures.
And they went to court, it's dismissed.
No,
good.
there's a stipulated judgment.
But it's over.
Right, it's over. Yep.
And the other thing was, did you get any information back on the traffic study you did around the mall? I seen the triggers out there.
They're working on it right now.
The triggers are down now, so you're waiting
Oh,
on the
okay.
information?
Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
And you're going to let us
I
know?
believe they're analyzing the data.
They're analyzing the data. When it gets analyzed, please forward it to us.
Yeah. mhm,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Corridor study.
All done, Lori?
Yep.
Thank you. Administrative approval report.
I believe we've had none.
All right. I know Rick called me last week on I believe 1 or 2 of them.
I'm not sure if they actually were completed, though.
What's that?
I'm not sure if they were actually completed. Unfortunately, Jen would have that information.
That's fine, just
so.
check with them and add it to next meeting. It was something pretty simple.
Will do.
What's that?
Will do.
Oh, thank you. Applications to be received?
We received application for 53 Manning, so for the outdoor, or the winter farmers market, and one for Dunkin' and Donuts facade improvements. I believe it's the first Dunkin' Donuts up the Enfield Street, closest to us. I wasn't sure of the. I'd have to look up the address.
I think it's the one by the
90
Legion.
Enfield Street or?
By the Legion, I
The
think.
Legion's the oldest.
Yes, I think that one. Yeah.
'Cause I think I read that, so we got something on it once.
Yep.
Okay. Opportunities and unresolved issues? Any?
I have a question for the commission, nonprofit housing. So I'm guessing that's any 501(c), any type of housing. Somebody asked me about it, and I was like, wow, I've never noticed that before. But
Never
there
heard
are
of it.
certain uses to have, like a church could have nonprofit housing. A church is a 501(c), so they might have housing. But it's not necessarily related to the church.
I think they have in
So-
the past. One of the churches in Hazardville used to have a little house years and years, way before me even. But they used to have a little house, and that was belonged to the church.
I'm not sure that I understand your question.
I don't understand what the
So-
concept.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure, it's odd that it's in there, so, and.
Who's bringing it up?
It's not relevant. We're just trying to figure out what, why it's in there separately. Why would a church need a separate permit than anybody else? Or, but, yeah, right. So I guess that's really the answer. I think it's just as long as it truly is a nonprofit, then they could come in as a nonprofit housing organization. For instance,
It
my.
doesn't matter to us, though, whether they're nonprofit.
No, I know, but it's
or-
in the regs, and now I'm forgetting where it was
Why
in
would
the
that matter?
regulations. We were
But
just trying
finances
to
had nothing to do with
define it.
planning.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the way I've always.
So I think it was in the HR 33. Maybe that's what it was. So, anyway, we were just having a conversation, and I said, well, I should just double check with them. But I mean, it seems to me that a church would be a nonprofit. My father lives in a assisted living facility that's owned by the United Methodist Church. They have nothing to do with church, as far as the religion, but they are a nonprofit organization and they own this facility. So I think that's what.
I
Are
guess
you
we're-
talking? Oh, sorry.
I think we've got a disconnect here.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you're
So
why are you asking?
The church there is a church that is interested in putting in housing that has nothing to do with the church, but they are a church, so they're 501(c).
Right,
They're
but-
nonprofits. So that's
Does our regulation specifically call out?
yes.
And what's it say?
Unfortunately, I didn't write down the section, so
So you're
My
talking
bad.
about within the same
I got
structure?
tied up with.
Are you talking about within the same structure?
Well, within the same compound.
Can they
Same
cluster
compound.
house and
Yeah.
be 200 square foot units?
Would they be partnering with a developer, or would they be doing it on their own?
They'd partner with a nonprofit developer. So
I never heard of a developer that doesn't make a profit. You can?
nonprofits don't make a profit.
President
That's
can
not
make
their
$10
goal.
million a year, but the company don't make a
Right,
profit.
right.
No, and I do apologize, just because
No,
it's
that's
like
fine. Take your
I
time.
had it
I'm
written
interested
down
in this
and
now.
I
You got me
grabbed the wrong
thinking.
piece of paper, so
A lot of what?
I think we're okay. So
A lot of public
Right.
housing or CHFA and HUD funded and so forth.
But that nonprofit status carries to anything they do, right? Yeah,
Right.
anything they do carries with them.
Right, but the
doesn't still
board of
have to be
directors
regulated.
can make, I mean, you could pay your
Right.
president or CEO $10 million
Yeah.
a year,
What is it? good?
and the
a
company
nonprofit.
doesn't make a profit.
Right.
You'll look at Salvation Army and all those other
Right.
places.
They're all rich.
Huge.
But anybody that's designated a nonprofit, I
It's so
think
they don't pay
whatever
tax.
they do carries with them.
It's a tax exemption.
Right.
So I think,
I've been a nonprofit on a few years. Not proud of it, but I think we can all relate.
yeah, see, this is not working.
Great in tax
There you go.
time for a nonprofit.
So, I think that's it. I think I don't have any other notes.
Did you find the,
I'm searching for it.
all right,
I
you
can't
want to bring
remember
it up
what
next
section it
meeting
was
then?
in.
Or just email it to us, Laura.
Yeah, okay.
So then
That's a
we
good
can
idea.
pick it up from there. I want to
I
know
just
what the
wanted to-
difference is between regular housing or nonprofit.
Well, that's just it. I guess that's my question. I mean, why is there something separate in the zoning regulations for
Well,
nonprofit?
I don't know what it says separate,
Yeah,
so.
right, yeah. It's
We'll
not
find
finding
out.
it.
She'll send it. Okay.
Well, yeah, that's a good idea. I'll email it to you. Sorry about that.
That's
I had
quite okay.
a whole little piece of paper and I didn't bring it, so.
No problem. Anybody else?
If
I'll
it-
entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I have a quick question for you.
Yes.
You build a whole bunch of houses